If you enjoy the topics and videos you see here on Power of Thought, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. It would really help to support us. The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. Have you ever felt as though there was something unique about you? It's not a stretch to say that most of us would like to think so. But how many of us have a firm grasp on what sets us apart? Fyodor Dostoevsky believed that everyone had something special within them, and he was fascinated by the most vulnerable and overlooked people in society. Dostoevsky was a Russian writer obsessed with emerging concepts such as nihilism and our need to find a meaning in an otherwise meaningless existence. He felt that nihilism was a great threat to humanity and poured his effort into novels like The Underground Man to illustrate that there were still meaningful things for humanity to hold on to. Dostoevsky's work led to his arrest in April 1849 for belonging to a literary society that discussed banned books critical of Tsarist Russia. Dostoevsky believed he would die on December 22, 1849, in a public square in St. Petersburg. He and other enemies of society were read the death sentence, dressed in white shirts, allowed to kiss the cross, and made to stand still as sabers were broken over their heads. Then, three at a time, they were lined up against the stakes and presented to the firing squad. Sixth in line, Dostoevsky would witness 3 executions before it was his turn to die. But then came a reprieve. The Tsar had decided to spare him. A new declaration was read aloud. Instead of a swift death, he was to spend 4 years in a gulag, followed by many years of military service in the Tsar's armed forces in exile. This experience understandably shaped his view on existence and brought about in him a new emphasis on finding one's meaning in life. Part of his drive to write was his firm belief that life was about one's own story, even once saying, "But how could you live and have no story to tell?" But with such a realization comes an extreme commitment to life. Like existentialist thinkers such as Nietzsche, Sartre, and Camus, Dostoevsky's brand of life affirmation came with a commitment to enduring the harsh realities of life. For if we are to be all in on this existence, we must let our hearts swell and our minds expand. And this, to him, revealed the harsh truth that pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. This might make you a little weary of such a blunt take on life. After all, it doesn't sound like a very happy one, does it? Well, that's because he had a very different take on the aim of life than most of us do today. Instead of taking life simply as a pursuit of joy and happiness, Dostoevsky saw it as a chance to be extraordinary above all else. He pointed out that even those of us who attain riches and relaxed lifestyles get restless, bored, and start craving something to go out and work towards. In essence, we crave meaning and purpose over luxury and comfort when it comes down to it. He even went so far as to say, "Man is sometimes extraordinarily, passionately in love with suffering." Dostoevsky's view of suffering was similar to someone like Nietzsche, though the two did have some differences. Suffering, to him, was the path to things we really want. Suffering not only forged us into the people we wanted to be, it brought about the external circumstances that make us feel fulfilled and like we have a really powerful purpose in life. Essentially, for Dostoevsky, to love is to suffer, and there can be no love otherwise. All of this really boils down to one core point. Why be happy when you could be a fascinating, extraordinary person? Do we remember people for being relaxed and content? Or do we remember people who stood tall in a world for what was most meaningful to them? We admire those who swim against the current of opinion and show us that there is often a different way of doing things. We love people who remind us that everyone has something priceless about them, something that can't be measured by money, status, or beliefs. Something truly extraordinary, built under the bedrock of who we are, just waiting for its wings. So what should we take away from all this? One of the most difficult things to do with philosophy, especially existential philosophy, is know where to actually apply it in our lives. Well, for one, reflect on what you really want. Don't chase things because they're easy, familiar, or because people tell you they are worth your time. In line with what Dostoevsky is trying to tell us, there isn't any meaning out in the world. Meaning is constructed. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things worth fighting for. Reflect on your past, learn to trust your instincts, and take those lessons of self-overcoming out into the world and show it who you really are. Because if you want to overcome the whole world, overcome yourself.